All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Baseball Replay Journal. And today we have another classic game for you today. 1949 Washington Senators are taking on the Boston Red Sox from Fenway Park, which you can see here in all of its beauty. Red Sox are playing very, very well. They're 6-1, and the Senators, the less said about them, the better. And the first pitch comes in from Stobbs, and that one is smacked into right field by Eddie Robinson. And O'Brien out there making the start. Tommy O'Brien is charged with the errors. He lets that one go off the side of his glove. Two base error there for O'Brien. And just like that, the Senators are threatening, and Robinson moves up to third base with that. And now the question is, do we play it in or deep? We play deep here. We'll go ahead and give up that run. Here at Fenway Park, we know that we can score a lot of runs. So that's a pretty quick opening to the game. And what happens here is Al Evans comes up as the third hitter in the ball game, and he gets a liner to the gap in the left center field, and that gets by Ted Williams, gets to the wall, and Robinson scores easily on that, and Evans is in with a triple. And just like that, the Red Sox have some problems. And up here now is Clyde Fulmer. Fulmer, not having such a bad April so far. 1-2, he's behind on two Stobbs, and he strokes a base hit into center field. 2-0 now Senators, and the Red Sox have only gotten a single out. Here is Eddie Yost now, and he has a little little ground ball over there to the pitcher to Stobbs, and he falls down and is able to throw out Yost from a sitting position, and so we have two outs. And what happens next is Stobbs throws a wild pitch, and just like that, it looks like the Red Sox here are starting to self-destruct before they even get their chance up at bat. Kozar still up at the plate. 1-2 now is the count on him, and he shoots one off the middle for a base hit off of Stobbs' glove. Stobbs having a real rough time of it out there. He's given up only 3 hits, 3 runs here in the first inning, and not pitching very well at all. And boy, this does not bode well for Boston, does it? 2-2 now is the pitch on Sam Dente. He grounds one over there to shortstop. Stevens has it, and that is that. Here come the Red Sox now with Ted Williams leading off, hitting a majestic 444, 595 on base percentage. Takes 3 straight balls, and then he takes ball 4. His bat never left his shoulder, and Dick Wyke, hopeless to prevent him from getting on base. Vern Stevens now, he looks at the first pitch inside for a ball, and the second one mitches 6 balls in a row, and there's a strike finally, first strike of the game for Wyke. And that one's too high. 3-1 now the count. Wyke having problems with his control. Boy, that was a late called strike. We thought that was ball 4 there. And there's a little bouncer to the hole, and everybody's safe as Stevens finds a way to get on base. I was about to say Wyke had 6 walks in his last appearance, which I can't remember if that was on camera or not. But walk already here in this one, and this is going to be an interesting game. Bobby Doerr now hitting 161 on the season so far, not doing so well, but the Red Sox overall are playing quite well. He does have the 1 home run, and he bounces that one back to Wyke, and there's a double play, 1-5-3. You want a double play you don't see every day. Dom DiMaggio now, and boy, Doerr not hitting very well at all. DiMaggio now is 1-1 pitch on him, 2-1 now on DiMaggio. And he chops that one off the plate over to Dente at short, and he gets him. And that's it for the Red Sox. No runs for the Red Sox in the top of the first inning. Up first is Lewis for Washington. He bounces one, or pops one up, to Stevens. And that's the first out. Wyke now strokes a base hit up quickly, and it's we got a runner on first base for Robinson, who hits one out to Ted Williams, who fields it this time, and that's the second out. Now Stewart up there, and boy, he gets a little blue base hit there that lands right between Doerr and O'Brien, and it drops there. And now the Senators again have first and third. And I swear, in this game, other than the triple, every single base hit by the Senators feels like it's been sort of like this. It's been kind of an adventure out there. A little bloop here and a little bloop there, and next thing you know, the Senators are big and are having a big inning, and they are taking out the frustration of 8 losses in a row on the Red Sox, who are in first place in the American League. 2-0 the pitch on Al Evans, who had a triple last time. 3-0 now on him, and Stobbs gets the strike, 3-1. And there's a little looper, and little younger DiMaggio picks that one up, little professor, and that does that. Bottom of the second inning now, 3-0 Senators. And remember, we're in Fenway Park here as Pesky grounds that one out to second base, so that 3-0 lead might not hold up as well as you might think. 2-0 now is the count on Bertie Tebbetts. 3-0 now on Tebbetts. And Tebbetts picks up his 7th walk of the season, which is quite impressive considering how few games we've played so far. Tommy O'Brien now, who had that big error to start off the ball game, hits it straight to Stewart in left field, and there's one away. Two away, my apologies. And that one's popped up to Dente by Hitchcock, and that's the third out. And on we go to the top of the third inning. And there's a little bit here about how the pitchers out in the bullpen are stirring a little bit, but there's a question as to whether they're actually going to get ready to pitch, or what exactly is going on. So I'll tell you, I'll be really honest with you here. I do not have, as Fulmer swings over a fastball for strike one, I do not have that bullpen rule on. If you've been watching these games, as Fulmer grounds that one out to Pesky, a third one away, I do not have the bullpen warm-up rule on, so that's not really referring to anything from us. 0-2 now the count on Eddie Yost, and a little ground ball to Pesky, 2 away now. I don't have that rule on, mostly because it only applies to human managers, not to the computer. Kozar hits one straight out to DiMaggio in center field, and that does that. And anyway, so whatever they were talking about here in the play-by-play, it doesn't really impact anything in the game. Nobody's warming up in the bullpen. We don't play with that rule on here, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Here we have 0-2 now, the count on Stobbs, bottom of the third inning, 2-2 now on him. And now it's a full count on Chuck. And he lays off that pitch and gets the walk. Third walk of the game so far, given up by Dick Weig. And he's not having a great control game here. Williams then strokes the base hit up there that goes right past Kozar at second base. Williams is 1 for 1. Here comes Vern Stevens now, and these two are a sign of trouble. 1-0 now the count on Stevens. 2-0 now, and I tell you, I love playing with Williams and Stevens because these guys are crazy good. Stevens, now the count is 3-0. We'll have him take, and there's ball 4. That's the fourth walk given up by Wyke, and now he's got to deal with Bobby Doerr and nobody out. And so even if Doerr has that double play, I think that we're good to go. And of course, what happens here is that pitch is in the dirt, gets past Al Evans, and he runs back and he grabs it and throws it to White, who comes over to cover, and they get Stobbs out at the plate trying to score on that wild pitch. Boy, I don't know. I'm going to have a talk there with that third base coach, because I'm thinking, what in the world are you trying to do with we've got the pitcher over there on third base. Why are you trying to do this? Where's the fire, man? Stevens and Williams move up, and boy, that's an interesting play. Because of course, now that does not go down here, interestingly enough, as a caught stealing, which is something that I've questioned, because we've seen stuff like that happen in this game before. This is OA, so out on an advance, but not a caught stealing for Stobbs. As you can imagine, Stobbs almost certainly, as a batter, yes, he has no caught stealings in real life, so we're not going to have to worry too much about that. There's a single to left field now by Doerr, and that winds up scoring 2. That scores both Williams and Stevens, and the Senators don't even try to get Stevens. But boy, that's a pretty big hit, and that's a big decision, because, of course, if that pitcher is still on base, Stevens probably doesn't score on the single, but then you have runners in first and third instead of just a runner on first base with 2 outs. And already this early we have intrigue and we have interesting decisions. And I will tell you, this time that decision was not my decision. I wouldn't have sent him. He went on his own accord. And where's the third base coach? I need to talk with him. DiMaggio now, of course, gets strokes a base hit to right. And we'll hold Doerr at second because he's not a great runner. I'm going to take a quick look, and of course we have the wind blowing out to left at 16 miles an hour. This, ladies and gentlemen, may be a very high-scoring ball game. Johnny Pesky now, 1-0, and now 2-0 is the count on Pesky. And that one's inside 3-0. We're going to have him take, and there is ball 4. That delivery is nearly in the dirt, almost another wild pitch by Dick Weig. Boy, isn't this fun? 3-2 Senators. Bottom of the third inning. Bases loaded. 1 out for Bertie Tebbets. Wonder where you are right now. I don't know if you're eating breakfast, eating lunch, taking a little bit of time off, but I sure hope that you're enjoying this 2-0 now the pitch on Bertie. And there's a routine ground ball to the right side that goes over to Kozar at second base for the out. The runners move up, and another run scores. We are tied. We are tied at 3 here, and it's early. The bottom of the third inning. We have a long way to go, but just like that, the Red Sox have managed to tie it, and they're showing you why they are the team to beat so far in the American League. And they're going to intentionally walk O'Brien and pitch to Billy Hitchcock, who hasn't been able to hit the broadside of a barn so far in this season. 1-1 now. He got that piece of that one. Little ground ball over to Kozar at second base, and that does it. Top of the fourth inning now. Sam Dente comes up. And 1-1 now is the pitch on Dente. There's a little changeup rolled off to the right-hand side, and Stobbs drops the ball, and Dente stopped in the base pads. Then Dente takes off again at first base. He dives, and Stobbs barely nips him with the throw. This is getting ugly. This is getting really ugly. This is one of the most ridiculous plays I think I've ever seen in my life in Diamond Mine baseball, or in any baseball game for that matter. And I mean, you got to run it out. You got to run to first base. If anybody who's watching this plays any sport, you got to play it. You got to run it all the way because you don't know what's going to happen. I play basketball with people over at the church on Tuesday nights. We have it happen all the time where somebody gets a fast break and it's just them, and then they go for the layup and they miss it. So you got to run. You got to run with them. Lewis singles on the 2-2 pitch, and Washington might have something happening here. Dig Wyke up, and he's going to bunt. And he misses the pitch. 1-1 now, and bunts and misses it. 1-2, and he hits a little fly ball out to DiMaggio in center field, 2 away. And here comes Eddie Robinson, and there's a quick first strike to Robinson, and now there's a ball, and they're trying to steal with Lewis for some strange reason. Let them do that. Little pop up to Hitchcock at first base, and that does that. And here comes Chuck Stobbs. Now 1-0 is now the count on Stobbs. 1-1 now as he takes a strike. And Stobbs chases that one outside 1-2. And Stobbs reaches on that error. And that is an error there by Eddie Robinson at first base. It was a little roller to the right side. And Robinson grabs it and he drops it. And our pitcher's on base. Just like that. And here comes Ted Williams now. Takes a strike 0-1. And Williams gets close to hitting that one over by the pesky pole. Did they call it the pesky pole in 1949 when Johnny Pesky's still there? I don't know. I have to do my research. 1-2 now on Ted. And that's a balk. That's a balk there by Wyke. They say he almost balked, and then he did balk. And you wonder what in the world he's doing balking with Stobbs, the pitcher, on at first base. Why do you even care? I mean, just worry about the batter. We're not going to run with Stobbs. We're not going to run with Stobbs there, Dick. Why would you ever think that we would do that? And this game has been very interesting so far. I've got to start wondering about what the random number generator is doing, because we're seeing all of the stops come out here, and Ted Williams strikes out. How about that 1-2 pitch? Ted Williams strikes out, swings and misses. Aaron Stevens now. 1-1 the count on Stevens. A lot of stuff you don't usually see here. 2-1 now on Stevens. Stevens swings and misses, 2-2. And that's in the dirt. Full count now on Stevens. And Vern takes that one for a ball, and that is the walk. And here comes Bobby Doerr now. Swung on missed for a strike. 0-1 now. 1-1 now, the pitch to Doerr. And that one is way upstairs, ball 2. And there's strike 2. Doerr not looking for that pitch middle in. Now full count on Bobby. And he hits a drive over to the right field, and that's not going to do very much. Fulmer's got it, and that will be that. 2 away now, Dom DiMaggio. And boy, I tell you, Doerr just not hitting all that well. 1 for 3 today, but this season has not been hitting well so far. 3-0 now on DiMaggio. And he takes that one, ball 4, foot outside, 8 walks in the game so far for Wyke, who's somehow pitching worse this time out than he was last time, almost at 100 pitches. 83 pitches now, 2 straight balls here on Pesky. And Pesky fouls one back. It was probably ball 3. There was ball 3. We're going to have Pesky take here. There's ball 4, and there comes the walk. And of all ways for us to go ahead in this game, the one way that you figure will eventually happen is, yes, they walk in the run. And as I said earlier on, this game is starting to get a little ugly early. We already had one player, Washington player, basically give up halfway down the baseline. We had a balk with the pitcher on first base, our pitcher, and now we've had a run walked in, and in between all of this, Ted Williams struck out. We've had just about everything. 0-2 now the pitch on Tebbets, and he grounds that one off to shortstop, and Dente has it, and that's that. Now we have the top of the 5th inning. This is Bud Stewart, and 2-0 is the count on Stewart. That one's fouled off the glove of Tebbets, 2-1. and that's hit down the right field line, and O'Brien grabs it. That's a base hit for Stewart, and he stays at first base. Here comes Al Evans. Evans having a good game so far. 0-1 now the pitch, and they're trying to run Stewart, it looks like there, but now it's an 0-2 count. They're not going to run anymore. 1-2 now is the count, and that one's lifted in the air again, foul. Evans lays off that breaking ball. 2-2 now the count. Full count now. Stobbs hasn't had many full counts so far in this game. Little ground ball over to Stevens. They get their man at second base, but that's it. Evans goes down the line pretty quickly for a catcher, and here comes Clyde Fulmer. 0-1 now the pitch on Fulmer. 0-2. We get him to swing on that breaking ball, and there was a double play ball hit to Door. Gets one at the bag at second, but Fulmer also quick down the line is able to beat it out. That's fine. We can let him beat out those double play balls all they want. That one's hit up to DeMage, and that's it. And Tommy O'Brien now leading off the fifth inning. He swings at the first pitch he gets from Wyke and hits a double. And here comes Billy Hitchcock. And Wyke cannot be one to his life here in this game will not be very, very long. Little pop-up by Hitchcock over to Robinson. Hitchcock not hitting well either. You get a lot of that here in April. Some guys, do well in spring training, and some of them want to go back to have more of a winter nap as Stobbs hits that one over to Lewis and Wright, 2 away. And this is interesting. They walk Williams intentionally in the bottom of the fifth inning in a 4-3 ball game. I think that I agree with this decision. I think I would probably do the same thing if I were managing Washington in this game. Having said that, this is an interesting decision to make. I mean, think about it. Vern Stevens is up. You're behind in the game if you're Washington. It's 4-3. Stevens can absolutely crush you here. The Williams-Stevens connection so far in the season has been legendary. And here comes Forrest Thompson now as the relief pitcher for Washington. We have seen him before, and boy, we could see this game get blown open here. 2-2 now the pitch on Stevens, and he has a little pop foul. Robinson unable to get to that, unfortunately. 2-2. Unfortunately, that is for Washington. Stevens fouls another one away. And boy, what did I just tell you? Stevens with his 5th home run of the season hits that one deep to was the deep left field, yes, over the head of Stewart. And just like that, it is 7-3 Boston, and we're not done. And boy, I tell you, with that wind blowing out to left field, you get a hold of one like Vern did, and man, it's going to go a long way. 1-2 now the pitch on Durer, and man, Durer is struck out and looks absolutely horrible on that play. Forrest is trying to get a little bit of that frustration out, I think, but the damage has been done, and it's 7-3 Boston, top of the 6th inning. And Kozar, the first pitcher, the first hitter, strikes out. Here, Sam Dente hits one over to right field. O'Brien's got that one this time, and there are 2 away. And Buddy Lewis is now up. 1-1 now, the count on Lewis. There's a fastball in there for a strike, 1-2. And that one's off the plate, 2-2 now the pitch. Tried to trick him with a changeup, didn't quite work. Stobbs being a little bit cute, and a little bit too cute as he gives up his first walk of the game. And now Simmons comes on to pinch hit. Now, you got to be careful if you're Washington because you don't have a whole lot of guys in the bullpen. You can't keep doing this. A little ground ball there to second base, and there's a door to make the play, and that does that. Bottom of the 6th inning. I say that because this is 1949. This is not 2022. You can't have a different pitcher in there every single inning because there's not enough. 2-0 now the pitch on DiMaggio, and DiMaggio hits one into the gap in right center field. Fulmer's looking for help. Lewis can't get there, and the ball is just loose in the gap, and it kind of bounces around there a long time, goes all the way back to, how deep it is in Fenway Park, and DiMaggio ends up chugging into third base with a long triple, and this is getting ridiculous for the Senators. Washington had a 3-0 lead to begin this game, and I thought that they might do it today. And now they count on Pesky's 2-0, and we're going to score DiMaggio here. Kozar throws home and cuts down DiMaggio at the plate to keep the game a 4-run game, which is a little bit ridiculous. Pesky now on first base. 0-1 is the pitch on Tebbets. I'm not stealing. I'm not going to do anything like that. We respect our opponents in this game. 1-1 now the pitch on Tebbets. 2-1 now. That one's high and inside. 3-1 now is the pitch on Birdie. And he takes ball 4 below the knees. And it's Mickey Hefner in here. And we remember what Mickey Hefner pitched like last time we did one of these games. And I'm telling you, this computer manager may not fully recognize how few pitchers the Senators have in the bullpen. And that's a problem. 1-1 now the pitch on O'Brien. and he fouls that one up. Evans not able to get it. 1-2. 2-2 now. Evans makes a snap throw back to first base. Nothing happening. 3-2 now, and here comes the payoff pitch. And Hefner, of course, has walked yet another man, his 8th walk of the season. And here comes Billy Hitchcock with one away. And I tell you, Hitchcock is in a slump, but there's one way you can break out of it here. And unfortunately for him, that ball is hit straight to Stewart. Stewart has no play on Johnny Pesky, of course. 2 away now, 8-3 Boston. Here comes Staubs. 2 away now, runners on first and second. 0-2 now the pitch on Staubs. He takes one outside, 1-2, and there's a little ground ball over to short stop, and that does that. Eddie Robinson now takes the first pitch from Chuck Staubs and smacks it into left field for a base hit. Here is Stewart now, and is a 1-1 count on Stewart. Little ground ball to second base. Stewart to Stevens, and Stevens throws that one away. Stewart ends up at second base. Poor play by Stevens, and there's one out, runner on second base. We can relax a little bit, though, now that it's an 8-3 ball game, and now that we know that we're deep into the Washington bullpen where there's not much. 2-2 now is the count on Al Evans. Still 2-2. A little liner to shortstop, and Stevens grabs on the bounce, throws over to Hitchcock, and Stewart is unable to move up with the ball hit right in front of him. 2 away. And that one is driven over to right center field by Fulmer, and he gets a quick double. And now here comes Eddie Yost. 8-4 is the score. Yost 0-for-7 in the series so far. 2-0 now is the pitch to him. Hard hit grounder down the first base line, and he gets his first hit here of this series. And that's another double. 8-5 now, and we have to wonder about how long we can stay with Staubs. 0-2 now is the pitch here on Kozar. There's pitch 100 by Staubs, and that one's hit off to Williams in left field. And after making that catch, Williams comes up here in the bottom of the 7th inning and promptly in the very first pitch hits one deep into right center field and gone, going the long way in Fenway Park. And that is the gopher pitch that Hefner gives up, and it is 9-5 now Boston. And here comes Vernon Stevens, ready to do more damage himself. He already has a home run in this game. Stevens with 5 home runs so far this season, and Hefner gets him. He gets him with the strikeout. That is a called strike. Yes, nice pitch on the corner. Started yelling at the umpire. It's a 9-5 game. Vern, just go sit down. It's okay. You might even get another chance in this one. 2-0 now the pitch on Doerr. And he takes that one for a strike, 2-1. Bobby follows that one back, 2-2. That one's high. Full count on him. And that's lined hard to second base. And Doerr finally has another single, 2-for-5 today. Kind of breaking out of that slump. Not fully. Dom DiMaggio now. DiMaggio takes ball 2-0 now, 2-1, and that one's inside. 3-1 now the pitch on DiMaggio. And there's a little roller down to Dente at shortstop. He makes the play at first. Door in there and at second base. Runner at second base now for Johnny Pesky. And he hits a little ground ball over to Kozar at second, and that does it. Top of the 8th inning now. Staubs still going strong, has me a little bit worried from time to time, giving up 5 runs in this game. Not the best game that he's pitched, but we'll stay with him as long as he can get him out. And 1-2 now is the pitch on Sam Dente, a little slider in the dirt, 2-2. There's a wicked slider, and Dente is able to lay off of it somehow. Full count now. There's one hit to the gap. O'Brien gets there, 1 away. Buddy Lewis now. 0-1 is the count now on Lewis. Takes one low, 1-1. And Lewis holds up on that one, but got a piece of it, 1-2. And there's a little hard ground ball inside the bag of first base, and there's a double for Lewis. And here comes Gil Cohen into bat for Hefner. There's a ball as that one got away from the catcher, 1-1 now. That's lifted high on the third base side, but foul. And Staubs with the 1-2 pitch, and he strikes out Cohen easily, strikes him out swinging. That is strikeout number 2 for Staubs. Staubs sometimes looks like he's stable, sometimes looks like he's really having problems. 2-1 now is the pitch on Eddie Robinson, 3-1 now. And Staubs misses and puts him on. First and second now for Washington. I don't want to have to take Staubs out in this game. This would be ridiculous. We don't want to use the bullpen if we don't have to. 2-0 now, though, is the count. 3-0 now is the count on Buddy Stewart, and there's a strike, 3-1. Staubs misses with that one, and the bases are loaded, and the tying run is up in the person of Al Evans. And, we're going to have to go to the bullpen here after all. And it's unfortunate because I really don't want to. We're not going to put in Ellis Kinder. I'm just sort of taking a look here and seeing what we have in terms of relievers. We could put Galehouse in. Galehouse probably is the one that makes the most sense. I'm thinking either Galehouse or Johnson. We'll put Galehouse in for the time being, mostly because I'm not certain how much longer he's going to be on this roster, and we kind of want him to get a little bit of experience. 1-0 now the pitch as a ball comes into Evans, and Evans fouls that one off the fists, 1-2. And there's one foul back to the backstop, 1-2 now, that is. A little ground ball to Stevens a short, and he makes a play to Dora, and that is that. Bottom of the 8th inning now, and here comes Birdie. Ed Kielman is the pitcher for Washington. 1-0 now the count on Tebbets. 2-0 now as Tebbets skips over that one. And that is a double to left field as Tebbets tries to lug that one out into a triple. Tebbets not the fastest runner in the world, as you'd imagine from the catcher. And that's the first out. O'Brien now comes up, little ground ball to Dente, and that's out number 2. 1-0 now the pitch here. 2-0 now on Billy Hitchcock. And 3-0 now. And Kielman loses his man, and here comes Galehouse is not going to hit for himself. Instead, we're going to put in our friend, your friend and mine, Matt Batts. Matt Batts, a star of this replay and a star of the blog. 2-0 now the count on Matt Batts, the Texan. And there's a throw to first base, nothing happening. And 3-0 now, and Matt Batts is going to take here. He looks at a strike, going to take again. There's another strike call, the slider down the knees, and I worry that I've spoiled it for Matt, but he takes ball 4. They're good eye for Matt Batts. Good player. Here comes Ted Williams, and man, I tell you, 2 walks, 2 men out now, and Williams comes up 1-0 as a count on Ted Williams. High and inside on Williams, ball 2. And fouls that one out. 2-1 now is the count on Ted. 3-1 now. Good eye, Ted. And Williams lays off of that one, and the bases are loaded. And here comes the more dangerous man so far this season, Vern Stevens, who has 5 home runs so far this season, including 1 in this game. 9-5 Red Sox, bases loaded, 2 outs. Ball 1 to Stevens. Ball 2 is that one is low. Strike 1 swinging, and there's another slider. 2-1 now the count. 3-1 as that one was too far inside, and we're going to take with Stevens. Let's see what happens. Sinker in there for a strike. He throws a sinker there in the 3-1 pitch, and in the end they lose him. And that one was, what did we say here? That pitch was low and away. That was another sinker that missed. That's I find it very, very interesting that they threw a 3-1 sinker to Stevens, which is a pretty dangerous pitch, and you knew he was going to take again, and Stevens gets his 4th RBI of the game. And here's Bobby Doerr with a chance to break out of that slump for good. 1-1 now the pitch on him. 1-2, and they call Kielman the Babe. He's not pitching like the Babe, though. 3-2 now. I don't know if Ruth ever pitched like this. Full count. Little fly ball into shallow left field. 1 scores. We are going to actually hold the runners. Williams not a very fast runner, and we want to give Dom DiMaggio a chance to be a hero himself. Dora now 3 for 6 today, having an excellent game. Williams 2 for 3, Stevens 2 for 3. The top of this Red Sox batting order is amazing so far today, and 2 for 4 now for DiMaggio. And 1-0 now is the count on Dom. 1-1 now. DiMaggio, and you all know those pictures of Dom DiMaggio with those spectacles. 2-1 now is the pitch on him, and 3-1. And let's see if they get him. And no, but there's another base hit. And DiMaggio with a double, and he scores 2 and gets Dora over to third base, and that's got to be it for Kielman, I've got to imagine. We'll take a quick look here. I'm just curious, and this is what I was talking about. Look at the bullpen for the Senators. You can't afford to take your pitcher out in the 5th inning. And that's the problem that we have here. I tell you, if I'm managing the Senators, I'm going to stick with that starter no matter what happens, man. If he starts walking the world, we're still going to stick with him. Kielman has to stay in the inning. And this game, which was winnable, is now lost for Washington. 0-2 the pitch on Johnny Pesky, and he fights that one off and flips into center field for a base hit. We are not going to send DiMaggio. We'll let him stay at third base with his spectacles on. We're not going to run up the score any more than we have to. 14-5 now for Boston. And it's one of those games. 1-0 now the pitch to Birdie Tebbets. I just want to pause here quickly and say, if you're playing with the Boston Red Sox in 1949 or 1950, you got to expect games like this. The way that this offense is. 2-0 now the pitch on Birdie. And he hits that one to deep right field, but nothing happening. And that one is easily tracked down. And we are going to find another pitcher who hasn't appeared much. Earl Johnson is going to come in, and we're going to have Earl Johnson bat for Tebbets. Boston, by the way, batted around in that inning. Batts is going to be the new catcher, and we'll leave him in here for the end of this. I might, if I remember, start Batts in the next Red Sox game. Of course, Johnson gives up immediately a base hit, and the Senators have a runner on first base in the person of Chuck Fulmer. Here is Eddie Yost now with a 1-1 count on him, 2-1 now in Yost. And there's a hit deep to DiMaggio in center field. There's one away. Al Kozar now. 1-0 the count on Kozar, and there's one to short, and that's a double play ball, and that will end the inning. 14-5 for Boston. I tell you, I thought initially that the Senators might be able to pull this one off, but as you saw, it wasn't to be. I hope that you enjoyed that. If you did, hit the like button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're doing as you watch this or as you listen to this or however you enjoy it. I'm just curious to know what's going on. And subscribe for more of these. As I've said before, we'll have a game of the day every single day. Well, I'm not going to show you every game, but I'll show you the ones involving the teams that I think are most important in this replay, at least so far. And hopefully we'll have some that are a little bit closer than this one. And I got you in here right at a half hour, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.